When I was accepted to have my first book published, I was really excited and I wanted to tell people. And I told my best friend, and while she said she was excited for me, she said, I can't tell anybody about this. And I thought, what? Why in the world? And she said it was because it was a romance novel and that was shameful. And when she had first told her parents that I was writing a book and they asked what it was about, and she told them, they acted like that was idiotic. It was, why would somebody waste their time to write an entire book just on romance fiction? And there started a real struggle I had with what I wrote about versus what people's perceived idea of what is worthy to be written about and what is worthy to be read. Now, I can tell you that the majority of books I've written have been romance novels. And romance novels are like the sitcoms of the literary scene. You know, there have been sitcoms on TV since TV began. And those sitcoms are pure entertainment. That is what they are. Nobody thinks they're going to make you have deep thoughts and feelings. Nobody thinks it's going to make you go out and be inspired to change the world. Nobody thinks they're going to be able to inform you of things you never thought of before. They're just entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that. And nobody says, oh my God, that actor was in All in the Family? How shameful. Of course not. It is something to be chosen to be one of the people to entertain other people. Nobody thinks that pop stars are less than somebody who sings opera. It's entertainment. That's what it is. So, whatever you write, if you write science fiction, if you write romance, if you write poetry, if you write historical stories, if you write biographies, whatever you write, there's nothing shameful about it. And people who act like it is are genre snobs. If somebody says to you, why in the world would you write about such a stupid or ordinary or whatever they say subject? Why would you write that? Let me just tell you, there are way more people who want to be writers than who ever finish a book. And so the fact that if you sat down and you wrote a book and you finished it, I don't care what it's about. It could be about, I don't know, making mud pies. And the fact that you finished a book, that says something. And that is important and that's awesome. And anybody who tries to belittle that, I would almost guess that it comes from a misplaced sense of their own disappointment in themselves, maybe because they want to write a book and they can't, or because they feel like, oh, I am entertained by these things and I am less than perfect. Therefore, the things I am entertained by must be inferior. So somebody just said, Bryce just said, I do not read. And so let me point out, you do read because you just typed in, I do not read. And the fact that you could type in, I do not read, means that you can read because you can write. So everybody who can read, that's an awesome thing. And you don't have to read a book. You don't have to ever read a book. You can listen to books. You can just not have any kind of curiosity about anything else in the world, and that's fine. But those of us who want to write books, we don't need anybody to give us any crap about what we write about. So if you are the person who is writing about a science fiction situation on another planet where there are 12-foot tall women and the men are all slaves, they actually made that into a movie. You go right ahead because there's nothing wrong with that. And if somebody gives you crap about it, it is a reflection of their own shame about what they're interested in, or their own misplaced sense of importance about themselves, or whatever. You don't even have to worry about what their deal is, because that's their deal. You know, there's a saying that says, what you think of me is none of my business. And I think in this case, that's a really good thing to remember. What somebody else thinks of what you write about, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. So after having written about 50 books, I can tell you that if I wrote about Western romances, which I have, or I wrote about military romances, which I have, or I wrote about how to improve yourself, which I have, or I wrote about a nature journal of how to journal beautiful things out in nature and how to appreciate them, which I have. It doesn't matter. Somebody in every single case has given me crap about the subject of my books. Every single one. And every single one of those books sells. So my point of writing is that it's not so much that I have a subject or a story that I need to tell. That usually really isn't the case. It's that I need to say, I need to tell something. I need to express something. I need to get it out. And so if you are like me and you need to get something out, just write about any damn thing. It does not matter. And ignore what anybody says, because somebody is always going to find fault with whatever you do, and it's none of your business what they think about it. It's not your place to try and figure out their psychology of what inspired them to be a jerk and try and belittle you. Don't worry about that. So somebody says, hi, Granny. What's up, Granny? Okay, that's really funny. I am a granny. I'm a great granny. I am good. I'm good at being a grandmother, but I'm also a great grandmother, meaning that my grandchild has had children, so they are my great grandchildren. And I love being a granny. So you go ahead and call me granny all you want, and you might think it's an insult. It's not an insult. I love being a granny. So again, I don't care what other people think, because what somebody else thinks, there is a form of manipulation to get in your head to try and belittle your choices, or affect your choices, or to make themselves feel better by making you feel worse. And this can be applied to anything. It's not just about writing. This can be applied to, and I see this a lot in young women, it can be applied to appearance. So young women, you know, they feel very insecure about their looks. I suppose young men do also, but I have not been as familiar with how young men feel, so I don't know. But young women who feel insecure about their looks are frequently tormented by other young women. Now, why do you think that is? Do you think those young women are trying to truly be helpful and say, oh my gosh, girl, you shouldn't wear that dress? Of course not. They're trying to make somebody else feel bad so that they can feel better. There are people in every single area of life that will do that. And you just need to get past that and not focus on that. So whatever you want to write about, just do it. Don't worry about being ashamed. If you're ashamed of what you wrote about because of the subject matter, I just don't even know what to tell you. There are books about everything. There are books that are pornographic. There are books that were, there was a book, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, a long time ago, when I was a kid, that somebody wrote in all lowercase as if a cockroach had written it. It was a bestseller. Screw them. To heck with them. You write. Go ahead. You write whatever you want to write, and somebody will want to read it. That's all I got for today. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.